Welcome to Vault Hunters Academy, and today we're gonna go over mods and how to unlock them. But first let me just tell you how this video is gonna go. First I'm gonna teach you how you unlock the mods, and then I'm gonna go over and do a tier list on each research group about which mod is the best and worst of that group, and sometimes there are just groups with no bad mods. So that's how it's gonna be, so let's start. First off, how do you unlock mods? That is with knowledge stars that you can craft using knowledge shards that are made out of knowledge essence that can be found inside of living chests. And once you consume a knowledge star, you're gonna get a knowledge point that you can spend inside of the researches to unlock a mod that only costs the number of knowledge points that you have. However, if you are on a multiplayer world, there is a way for you and your friends to share your mods or your researches. And that is gonna be with the command the vault research team, or simply invite your friends and it will create one automatically. However, if you do create a research team, let's look at create for example. The cost of create is 6. However, if you are on a research team, the cost it's gonna be 9, because being on a research team increases the cost of the researchers by 50%. However, since the last update, that you can find the updates as they come in my channel, so if you want to stay up to date in the updates, do subscribe please. But you can turn it off by using the command /team role vault no research team penalty. That by default is turned to false, meaning that there is penalty, and you can simply go and do it for true and the research penalty is gone. And once you do unlock the mod, there is this item over here that are mod boxes that can be found inside of wooden chests or crafted like this. And once you right click it, you're gonna get a few items that can either be stuff like this, knowledge shards, but it can also be some stuff from the mods that you unlock. But with that out of the way, shall we see which mods are the best? And let's start with storage. Storage has 6 mods, and out of those 6, I think most of them are good. So let's start with the ones that are not digital and leave the digital storage for last. Let's start from left to right. The first one is Colossal Chests, which basically lets you create a colossal chest that has a lot of space in its inventory. It is good, yes, it's gonna save you on some space in chests, but you still need a huge colossal chest placed to have access to those items, and you need to go into them to look if you do not have a digital storage or something like the next mod, Simple Storage Network, which I'm not a huge fan of because it was causing me a lot of lag, because it is more or less a simplified version of one of these digital storage options. But instead of having disk drives where you're gonna digitally store your items, no, you just connect the chests into the system, and the system then you can use a crafting grid or something like that, or a terminal to look at all the items inside of your chests. And because of that huge amount of chests that you might place to store all of your items, that's a lot of entities that store data in the form of items, and it starts getting laggy. So it's one of the downsides, and the reason why I think which is the worst mod of the bunch, being in C tier. And after that, let's go into the next one, that is drawers, which might just be the best storage mod that is over here, or the must-have of the bunch. And that is because each drawer lets you store a huge amount of items, and they are rather like friendly. So yeah, great mod, always good to take. It's very inexpensive, like most of these other mods that only cost 1 knowledge point, and the first research even doesn't even increase the cost of others, but after that it will still increase by 1 or 2. But it's little. The amount of knowledge required as a bonus from here, it's gonna always be low. After that, let's go into the digital storage mods, starting with Mechanism QIO, which is the one that I placed in B tier, unlike the other two that I did in A tier, and that is because it requires Mechanism, and not only that, is a very late game function. I know that people tend to like Mechanism QIO, saying that its crafting is very good and storage is also very good, and that is the only reason it is not a C. And for the next two, well, they are more or less the same. Refined storage, I think it's a bit simpler to understand, and the fact that the cells don't have a type amount of items that you can put makes it so it is a bit better in this mod pack, since the applied energistics does have a forte in that it has a better auto crafting. However, you need to unlock auto crafting, and to do that you need to unlock every other mod that you can. Meaning, to get automatic genius, you need to unlock all these other mods. So the advantages of applied energetics don't appear until very much late game. End game, one might even say, if you even get to that. And if you want to go into more in depth, I also did more in depth reasons as to why I chose refined storage over applied energetics in my last survival Vault Hunters video. So go check it out. Next off, we have looting, and let's get it out of the way. There is no bad mod inside of this tab, and that is shown by 4 S tiers, 3 A tiers, and 2 B tiers, and even the B tiers are amazing. And are only in B because the rest are is just so good. So let's start with the B tier since it's easier. First off, auto feeding. Auto feeding just does what the name implies. It takes food out of your backpacks and feeds you. Which, yeah, sounds amazing because it is. Just take it. You're gonna eventually have everything in this tab. It's just that this one is not a priority one. And the same goes for junk management, which, if you are not breaking every block inside of the vault, who even cares? You're not getting junk in your inventory. But if you start using hammers to collect RPOIs, eventually you'll get, and you will want this so the junk doesn't get in your inventory or by mobs blowing up. So yeah, this is good. It's gonna make it so your inventory doesn't get full of junk. Another one that is great, if it was a general tier list, would be an A, but it's just about looting, so B tier. And now for A tier, which is the highest tier of backpacks because honestly, it's just overkill. Is it great? Yes. It's overkill? Yes. So yeah, you don't need it. It's very good anyway. And other than that, the auto refill upgrade, because let's say you have blocks in your and that you place inside of the vault. Auto refill makes it so that you never run out of blocks as long as they are in your backpack. And even if you don't have the auto feeding yet, it will also replace the food in your hand if, again, it is in your backpack. Very useful. And lastly, in the A tier, it's the Soul Harvester, which, yeah, the basic one that you get without even having the research. It's slow, so having this one that can convert 9 stacks at a time into Soul Essence, it's just quicker and helps in managing the amount of junk items with soul value that you get inside of the vault. And now for the S tiers. Okay, these three, it's always the same. They increase the amount of upgrade slots that you have in your backpacks, and not only that, it also increases the amount of inventory slots inside of the backpack, which the backpack being big enough to have all of your loot in one single backpack, and you won't need to take more than 1-2 ores, another for, let's say, leaving chests, and another for something else. And you just need one big backpack, and all your loot, it's gonna go inside of it. I just recommend having one for loot and one for gear and another for scav items, and you're basically set to go. Besides that, stack upgrade, because means that you can stack over 64 inside of a slot of the backpack. And not only that, it unlocks directly all of the stack upgrades, which goes from iron tier to netherite tier. So yeah, in looting, you're gonna get everything. It's just great. Now let's go over the power mods, and let's start with the most simple one, iron generators. It is a simple mod, it generates a lot of energy, and there are ways to get basically infinite energy with them. So yeah, it's very good and easy to use and can fulfill your needs. I think this is an A tier. After that, we have power, that not only is a great way to generate energy, it also allows you to do what Flux Networks is just there to do, which allows you to transfer energy wireless. So yeah, it's a very simple, very efficient, and useful power generation mode and energy transportation mode. So I do recommend you take power, as it is also very, very inexpensive and you don't need any extra mods to be able to unlock power, unlike these three over here down. After that, we have Flux networks, which basically allows you to create and manage flux points and networks by dividing them however you see fit and manage them however you want. And also allows you for wireless and over long distance transfer of energy, much like the power. However, it's a bit more simple and a bit more inexpensive, and that is the only reason why it is in C tier and not in E tier. And now let's go for the ones that require extra mods. Those being thermal dynamos, which requires thermal expansion to use because this is the thermal expansion energy generated. And it is good, yes. Most of you, if you have played modded, you most likely have played with them. There is a huge variety of ways you can generate with an energy with them, and the same goes for mechanism generators. But they require both their parent mods to unlock, and yeah, they are good. If you want them, unlock them. They will serve you well, and mechanism generators will even let you do something with the QIO, as I said before, and nuclear energy for basically unlimited amount of energy for whatever you want to do. But the fact that they are not solo mods is what brings them down to B tier. And the other one that requires something else is Botania Flux Field, which Botania is great, don't get me wrong, I love Botania. However, the flux field, which is the generator from Botania, doesn't generate all that much energy, and you need a Terra Steel block to even craft it, which is very expensive. So I do not recommend using the Botania flux field, as using mana for Botania for some recipes of items that you can only farm through Botania is more important than generating energy through it. And let's talk about tunneling now. And about that, let's start with the worst ones that are Xnate and pipes. Both of them serve more or less the same function, that is the transfer of items, fluids, energy, and basically just give you more options about how to transport stuff when the mods itself that are already on the spec do that as you unlock them. So these ones are just kind of, they are not terrible, you can find uses for them, so that's why they are in the C tier. Then we have dark utilities. That is great if you want to do a mob farm with, for example, ice spawners. However, outside of that, it's not as useful, so I think it's a bit here. It's great in combination with another mods, but by themselves, yeah. Then we have iron generators in A tier, which it's better furnaces that you can also use to generate energy and save on fuel and use alternate fuels. It's great. It's faster furnaces, A tier. And the best one is modular routers. That is very customizable. One example that you can do with it, you can use it so that you can place your backpacks on top of them and it will empty them automatically into your inventories. Not only that, you can also use it to break blocks, place blocks, do farms if you need. So it's great, it's versatile, it's one of the best mods in the game. And now let's go to the odd one, which is this one over here, Automatic Genius. Which is like, you need every other mod in this mod pack to be able to unlock Automatic Genius. So let's say you don't have them, you can't get it, it's an F tier. However, let's say that you already unlocked everything else, then all of your knowledge is obviously going to go into Automatic Genius. It's simple. If you can get it, it's already an S tier because it's the only thing you can get. If you cannot get it, you cannot get it. It's an F tier. Simple. Oh, big mod. This one is interesting. I took great on my first one, but I do regret it slightly. Because, well, yes, it's you can make a lot of farms with it. I think Botania is better for making farms. And that is why Botania is S tier and Create is A tier. Alongside Create, you have Thermal Expansion in A tier too. Because thermal expansion lets you do some farms that the other mods don't, like fishing one or ice and magma blocks and so on. So it is also in A tier because it's just a different type of farm. As for B tier, because it's still good, just not as useful. Mechanism. Mechanism lets take one product from one ore and multiply it by 5. So it's not as useful, but that's not the only reason you take mechanism. It might be also because of mechanism QIO and something that will come up later. But be sure to know which one you want to take because the increase in the cost is by 12, which is a lot because the second time you're gonna take one of these mods it will cost not 6 but 18. And now we have big toys, which mining gadgets was kind of done dirty with all the buffs that Vault Tools got, because now vault tools, even in the overworld with vanilla immortality, are great and this kind of got outdated. And that's the reason why it is in D tier. And why not E? Because it seems like I'm talking as if it is completely useless. Well, it can kind of be useful if you want to remove some blocks while building and don't have reach. It can be useful in that way, but other than that, not that great. Slightly above in B, we have Weirding Gadgets, which is basically a chunk loader. And, well, if you are in survival and single player, having a chunk loader far away from your base might be useful because you're not going to be there, but if you want to do it in a multiplayer world, it can be a bit more costly in terms of lag, and the reason why you might not want it to have turned on all the time. So be careful how you use it, because yeah, it can be powerful, but it can also cause problems. So that's why it's in B tier. After that, we have built-in gadgets that can be useful to place your ores for breaking if you use Silk Touch inside of the vault. It can also be used to copy a building from creative and then import it into your survival, and many other uses as you can try and test out how to use these building gadgets. And anyway, it's useful, even if to make a platform, just create a foundation. Always good to have, that's why it's in A tier. And one of the reasons you might want Mechanism, it's Digital Miner, because this is a gadget that you can place on the overworld where you want to mine. Just set it up to get you the ores and then give it energy, and it will get all of the ores that are in the area for you without you having to go and mine them. So yeah, this one is very useful and might be the best selling point for Mechanism S tier. This is another one that the only reason that all of this is not in S tier is because I didn't want to just put the six of them in S, although it is very possible that that's what it should have been. Because this is quality of life. First off, once you take one mod from here, the price of the others do not increase in any of those as you take them. And not only that, besides auto automation that is 32, all of them cost either 1 or 2 research points. With 2 I mean just Torch Master, but yeah, it's understandable. So this is inexpensive, okay, easy to get, and it's very useful. Waypoints just let you place waypoints on the map so you can more easily travel in the overworld as you need to gather resources or just find somewhere new to build or something like that. Torchmaster, around the torch you place from Torchmaster, well, no mobs will spawn, that being hostile mobs, so you can make an area where you don't need to worry about creepers, zombies, whatever. Trash cans, it's just an overflow protection for your farms, it's great. Maybe not as useful because, and that's the reason why it's an A tier, it's because the void upgrade for drawers, but still very useful. And elevators. You just craft an elevator, place one in one floor, place the other one in a floor above or below, and you jump or shift if you want to go up or down. Very easy, very useful. And the vault compass will always point to the vault portal as you enter the vault. Unless you then shift and right click in an objective, then the compass will point into the place you shift and right click. So it's easy to navigate inside of the vault. Very useful, very cheap, just take it, why not? Alter automation. Well, this one needs either refined storage or applied energetics, and once you do have one of this, you just click with your altar conduit and it will suck the items from your digital storage directly into the vault rock, making it so that it is easy to craft new crystals. And one of the reasons why QIO is not as good as it could have been, because it doesn't mesh well with alter automation. Production. This one is a weird one because we have a lot of useful mods here and some not so useful. So let's start with the easy villagers. Well, as you can already use part of the easy villagers without having to unlock, which I mean picking up and placing down villagers, do you really need the rest? You can just take a villager out as you need them, and yes, you can automate the trades here with this mod, but I don't think it's that useful. It's nice, but it's not a must-have. That is why it's a B, but it could have very well also been a C. Now, easy piglins. Unless you have a solid amount of gold being generated, it's not that useful. And yeah, you can automate some items from easy piglins in their trades. I think it's very much weaker than easy villagers, and that is why in D tier. Botany pots. Botany pots must have, S tier, you just place a bit of dirt inside, or if you want to grow cactus, a bit of sand, and one of the crops or seeds, and it will passively generate that crop and place it in an inventory below if it's an hopper pot, and if it's not, you just place an hopper and turn it into a chest, and then it's the same thing actually. So very useful, always generating the crops passively as you walk around, and it doesn't seem to cause much lag. Get it. Now Snad. Snad is not very great. I put it in it here because, well, yeah, it's very cheap. It increases the cost of production by 12. If it were in quality of life, maybe it would have, well, not maybe, it would have been good to get, but not when it's going to increase the cost of mob spawners, KGRM, botany pots, or any of the other mods in this list. So because of that, I think it's an idiot because it's actually a trap to get. Now the next two serve the same purpose, and that is KGRM or mob spawners or ice spawners. Ice spawners will unlock it so that you can create your own spawner and customize it to spawn your mobs and kill them, and it is great to use with dark utilities. However, Kejirium, you just get a cage where you place the mob egg inside and it will generate the drops at a slower pace than mob spawners, much slower, but it's easy to configure and you can all have all types of mobs generating at the same time, and the same for mob spawners would need to spawn all of those mobs creating a lot of lag. So it's which one do you prefer? Having the items in a burst as you place the mob egg inside of the mob spawner, or just have your KGDM out there in your base creating the drops passively in a slower rate. But it's just up to which one you like the most. Photogenic Insulator is from Thermal Expansion and it's in A tier. It will generate resources for you like botany pots. However, unlike botany pots, you can also create logs and leaves from the phytogenic insulator, aka you can place saplings in it, and botany pots doesn't. So it is a bit of an upgrade to botany pots, so it's more expensive, so it's something that you're gonna place whatever you need at the time inside of the photogenic insulator and just passively generate the thing for a bit, and then once you don't need it anymore, you're gonna take it and change to the next thing you need. While botany pots can have everything at once. Oh, this one is easy. It's a last tier because increasing the tier of your potion, it's gonna increase the amount of heal and also can hold one modifier in potions. And after this, you'll be able to not only get better heals, but the better effect of the modifier that you add to your potion. So it's always better to have it bigger. And that's basically all the mods. There's no reason to make a tier list of all of them together because you just need to look at each tier list and see, okay, what do I need at the time from which group of mods, and from there you're gonna decide between which one is better and better for your needs. So yeah, most of the mods are useful, and you will eventually be able to unlock them all if you so wish, because there are unlimited knowledge essence that you can get inside of the vault. So just take it as this as a guideline, and don't be afraid of using some of your knowledge points to get something that is on a lower placement in these tier lists, because you can unlock everything. Anyway, I hope this was informative and that you enjoyed this video. Bye bye.